Welcome, welcome, families. We are going to take a few moments while all of you kind of get into the room. So we are here. We're just going to give it a few moments while everybody gets in here and gets settled before we get started. Okay. All right. Well, it looks like about half of the folks that we were expecting are here. So we are going to go ahead and get started. As you all know, this is our family U-Chat series. And so this is our second session with the Office of the University Bursar. And so in a second, you're going to hear from Erin Shadle, who is our University Bursar. But we are super excited that you're here. This is going to be our series that we're going to do throughout the summer and throughout the year, where you get to hear from different campus partners and get the information that you need. If you have a question throughout this session, you can use the Q&A feature, and Erin will kind of tell you a little bit more about who's going to be answering your questions there. But we're really excited for you to be here. And without any more waiting, I'm going to turn it over to Erin so that we can get started.
Thanks, Jonathan. Good evening, everyone. My name is Erin, and as Jonathan said, I'm visiting you from the Bursar's office here at UMass Amherst. I'm joined by some colleagues this evening, Barbara, Michael, Tom, Jill, and Kim. They will be answering your questions as they come in. So you won't see them, but they're certainly here to help you as we go through this presentation. A few things just to let you know about the questions. We will not be doing hands. So in other words, please don't raise your hand if you have a question. Type it in the Q&A section at the bottom of your Zoom screen. You should see a Q&A section, and you can type your question in there and one of my colleagues will answer it. I may also answer your questions as we go through this presentation. I do have some slides to share with you. There's a lot to go over. I will try to go over it as thoroughly as I can, but please note that if you have any further questions, you can certainly ask us in the question and answer section, or you can contact our office at any time this summer. We're open all summer. One other note about the question and answer: if you do ask a question and we respond and then you have a follow-up question, just note that we lose that first question you had. So it may be that we don't know the full extent of your question. So please be sure to copy what you originally asked so that we know the full picture. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And if my colleagues would just stop me if you see any question that seems to keep coming up, or if you see anything that I say wrong specifically, that would be great. So I'm pleased to be with you here this evening. And here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk just a little bit about financial aid. Our financial aid office is its own office. The Bursar's office, we're the billing office, and our financial aid office is the office that works with loans, grants, some scholarships, FAFSA, and that type of thing. I like to say the financial aid office gives you money and the Bursar's office takes it away, but I don't want to be very negative about our office. We do work very closely with financial aid. We refer to ourselves as married to each other. So if you contact one office or the other, we will certainly be able to assist you. And if you need expert advice from one office or the other, we'll transfer you to the correct person. But for tonight, because financial aid is so closely tied to the Bursar's office, I did want to go over a little bit about financial aid. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what the Bursar's office does. The Bursar's office is an archaic term, and not everybody knows what we do here on campus. So I'll explain that a bit. We'll go over what is going to be on the tuition bills. The tuition bills are set to go out early next week, Monday, We're targeting Monday, July 17th. So you should be getting notification, or your students should be getting notification that the bill is available to view online early next week. We're also going to talk about the payment plan that we offer here at UMass Amherst to help you alleviate some of the pressure of paying a tuition bill. We're going to talk about accessing information. All of you on this call have an interest in the financial obligations of your student, and so we want to make sure we can get you the information that you need to navigate that process. And then finally, we'll talk about some important dates that are coming up. So a little bit about financial aid. So make sure you file a FAFSA. So those of you who have not done so, you still can. Any student who has been awarded in the state of Massachusetts the John and Abigail Adams Scholarship or the Koplik Scholarship will have to file a FAFSA. So please make sure you do that. If you haven't done it yet, you still can do it. It's open in the fall of each year for the following year. So you may have already done it because it opened in fall of last year, but if you haven't, it's not too late. This is the way for you to also see if you're eligible for any federal grants, loans in your student's name, or if your student may be eligible for work study, which we'll touch on in a moment. Apply for scholarships. Scholarships is another way to fund the education. Scholarship searches should be ongoing and continuous, not just for your first year, not just when you apply to college, but you should have your student and encourage your student to search for scholarships at all times. You can Google scholarships. You can see if you have scholarships for in the town that you live in, if your employer offers scholarships. Our financial aid office also has a scholarship search engine. So you can have your student log in there as well to look for scholarships. It's important to understand your payment options. So we're going to talk about this a little bit today. Again, Bursar and financial aid are tied at the hip. So we'll talk about what payments we accept in the bursar's office, and financial aid services is also available to help you plan for how you're going to pay your tuition bill. And then after all other options are exhausted, we would encourage you to consider a student or parent loan. Any student loan that is not issued through the federal government will require a cosigner. Your students who are entering the university are traditional students anyway. They're just not old enough and don't have enough credit history to apply for a loan without a credit check. So any loan outside of the federal loans that the student is automatically qualified for without a cosigner would require one. So your student will receive one or two loans. It's limited by the year they are. So freshmen receive $5,500 per year in federal loans. Does not require cosigner. They come in two flavors. One is subsidized, one is unsubsidized. The way I remember this is that both loans can be paid after graduation, but the unsubsidized loan, which I think of as unfriendly, the interest starts to accrue while the student is still in school. Subsidized means that there's no interest accruing while your student is in school. Unsubsidized, it is. So those are the only loans that your student can qualify for without a cosigner. Any other loan, parent or otherwise, will need a cosigner. Just a little bit more about financial aid. I jumped the gun on the federal direct student loans. So we talked about that a little bit. Interest-free while enrolled or unsubsidized, unfriendly, the interest accrues. If your student is not interested in the federal loans, they are automatically awarded to a student who fills out a FAFSA. If your student is not interested in a loan or has other means to pay their bill rather than taking a loan, they can decline that loan through their Spire access. You're going to hear me say Spire a lot this evening. Spire is a student's access to all things UMass. It includes registration, financial aid, billing, grades, changing your meal plan, waiving your health insurance. All of that is through our their Spire access, also viewing and paying their bills. If your student does want the loans as a first-time borrower from the federal government, they will be required to complete two forms. One is called an entrance counseling form. So this is because they are a very first time borrower from the federal government. And the other one is a master prom note, which is the note that is required in order for your student to accept the loan. Both are listed as to-do items. We have a to-do list in Spire. So when your student logs into their Spire account, they will see a holds and to-dos panel, a tile on that front page, and it will list everything that they still need to complete in order to receive financial aid. And we did touch a little bit on the private or alternative loans. So the federal government does offer a Parent Plus loan, which a student can get, again, would require cosigner. It's for parents and step parents, or you can do private loans. So anyone who may have heard of Sally Mae or Discover or something like that, that would be considered a private loan because it's not through the federal government. And this is the final slide about financial aid. I told you it was going to be quick. We encourage students to get a job while they're here on campus if their schedule allows it. Student employment is available on campus. We hire 6,000 or more student employees on our campus. So we encourage students who are interested in earning a biweekly paycheck to apply for a job. They can apply for a job in their department. We have a lot of administrative jobs available, some in athletics, some in the dining halls. So whatever interest your student may have. Students are allowed to work up to 20 hours per week. They are paid biweekly. Because of the nature of that, this is just like a paycheck. The student will not have work study included on their bill. So when you have your financial aid award in front of you, you may see work study, federal work study as part of that financial aid award. Just make a note that that will not be on the student's bill. The student will earn that as a biweekly paycheck should they choose to get a job on campus. So back to the Bursar's office, which is where I'm visiting you from. This is our services and contact information. So I'll pause here for anybody who wants to screenshot it, take a picture of it, what have you. We are open. We are in person all summer. We also can meet with you by phone, Zoom. We can answer your questions by email. So we try to make ourselves as available as possible. If you are dropping off any type of payment, our hours are 8:30 to 4:30, Monday through Friday. We do not accept cash in the form as a form of payment, but we do accept check, money order. We accept online payments, accept and encourage online payments, and we accept international wires through the company called Flywire. That's the only way to wire international funds to the university. The services we provide in addition to taking payments is we present bills. So we create every semester, we create a new bill for students who are enrolled. We provide on our website an explanation of the tuition and fees you may see on the bill so that you'll understand what you're being billed for, what you're paying for. We do offer an installment payment plan, which I'll get to in just a moment. In the Bursar's office, we accept tuition credit. Tuition credits are also, and in the past, have been referred to as tuition waivers. So if you qualify for a tuition waiver, for instance, if your student, if you, the parent, are an employee of the state of Massachusetts, you may qualify for a tuition credit of $857 per semester on behalf of your students. So that's just one example of a tuition credit. They are listed on our website. I'll refer to our website a lot because there's so much to go through. We do accept scholarships in our office. These are non-financial aid scholarships. So this would be the Kiwanis Club, an employer offering a scholarship to a student, the Elks Club. A lot of our students will receive scholarships at graduation. The rules with the scholarships are this: if you have an award letter that says that a scholarship will be awarded to your student at a later date, if you send us the letter, the award letter, we will put a temporary credit on the bill so that you don't have to pay more than you need to. If the scholarship is in the form of a check and it is made out to your student and the university, then that check needs to come to us. Your student should sign it and the check should be sent to the Bursar's office. If that check, we're still on the check, if the check is made out only to your student, You do not have to send that to the bursar's office. Your student can cash it and use it for educational expenses. They can use it for tuition, books, whatever you may need that for. Third-party invoicing, if a company is paying on behalf of your student and they will pay the university directly and not your student, then we will provide an invoice to that third party. We will need a request from you that that invoice needs to go to the third party rather than the student. And we expect that the third party will pay the university directly on behalf of your student. We also, in our office, process student refunds. So any student's account that is overpaid, any student account that is overpaid, we will provide a refund. That refund will be made out to the student. It's not made out to the parents, but here's the secret. Student refunds, we direct deposit into a bank account that the student sets up, through Access Express. And that bank account can be owned by, that bank account can be owned by anybody, the student or the parent. So please have this very important conversation with your student about where you would like any refunds to go.
Erin,
Yes.
I don't recall, but again, we've got the 529
Yep.
Question, so I don't recall if you have that coming up.
It is.
Okay.
Yep. So on the Bursar's bill, the components of a student's bill, this is what you can expect to see on the bills that will be available next week. For charges, any students who is enrolled in the fall term or the spring term, because we charge twice a year, fall and spring. Any student who's enrolled will expect to see tuition and mandatory fees on their account. Tuition is its own fee. Mandatory fees, there's two of them. One is called the student activities fee and one is called the technology fee. These are the three fees that are charged to every student. You will also see room and meal plan fees if your student is living and eating on campus. The default for the meal plan is unlimited, which means that we will charge your student for the first time for an unlimited meal plan if they're living on campus. All students living on campus must have a meal plan. Your student does have the option to change the meal plan either up or down. We have one that's more of a benefit and one that's less of a benefit. There's information about the meal plan options and the meal plan charges on our website, and you can your student would change their meal plan selection through their Spire account. Everything is through Spire. Health insurance will be on everyone's bill. So students who are not covered by another health insurance plan are required to be covered under a comprehensive plan in the state of Massachusetts if they're attending school here, and the university does provide a health insurance plan that they can be covered under. If your student is covered under your plan or another qualifying plan, they can waive that fee. So we want to encourage all students to do that if they are covered under your health insurance plan. This is a very important reminder. If it's not waived, you will be paying double for health insurance. So we don't want to do that. The health insurance waiver link is on our website. It's also on the Spire login page, and the site should be up by Monday when the bills are sent. Other fees that you'll see on the bill are any school fees. By school fees, I mean College of Engineering has a separate fee, Honors College, Computer Science department has a specific fee that they charge. So you may see school-related fees. And then the other fee you may see is a lab fee. If your student registers for a class that has a lab component, you may be charged a $95 lab fee. And the final thing you should see on your student account as far as charges go are our waivable fees. Mass PIRG, and childcare are two of our waivable fees that are on the student account. Our Student Government Association has voted to have these fees on the account. The Mass PIRG fee is $11. It is a donation to the Massachusetts Public Interest Research Group, which operates a chapter on campus. And the $1 for childcare, it's labeled childcare, is a donation to a scholarship for our students who may need those services. So both are optional. They are charged to the student, and the student has the ability to waive them through their Spire account. So the other thing to see on your bill is payments and financial aid. So we just touched on tuition credits, grants, scholarships, student and parent loans all come through our financial aid office and will be listed on the student account. It's important to note that right now, at this point in the summer, all financial aid is listed as anticipated aid. And what that means is we're fully expecting your student to receive that aid, but federal rules prevent us from applying it to the charges until we get closer to the semester. So the other caution here is if you do see financial aid listed under the anticipated aid section on the bill, that it's important that you have your student check all their to-do items to make sure our financial aid is not waiting for something from your students. Payments, any payments made will prior to the bills going out will appear on the bill. I do want to touch on payments because I know there's questions about 529 plans. So we do accept 520 payments from a 529 plan. You would contact your plan provider. So for instance, Fidelity, and initiate that payment with them. They will then send the payment directly to the university. Typically, that's what happens. You can have the payment sent to you. I'm not a tax professional, but I was a parent who paid tuition, and I would highly suggest that you have the payment sent directly to the school. It's a little bit easier and more straightforward. Depending on the company, they may require a copy of the billing statement. Just know that 529 payments are intended for tuition and fees related to enrollment. So you may need to contact your tax professional and or your 529 plan just to make sure that what you are paying is accurate. But again, it starts, yes.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were done. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
There is a question about the Florida prepaid plans. I don't remember how we do that. Is that like a scholarship? Like they need to let us know and then we reach out?
Yes, they
Okay.
So if you have a 529 prepaid Florida prepaid plan, let us know, send an email to our office with as much information as you can provide, and we reach out to them with an invoice. They're different. The prepaids in Florida are different. They do require us to send an invoice. We do accept 529s from other states as well. I think Vermont might have a prepaid, they may call it a prepaid plan. So we do accept them. We also accept the one in Massachusetts is called, Jill, help me out here. What is that called? U-Plan. Sorry, it escaped me. The 529 plan that is in Massachusetts is called the U-Plan. We accept those payments as well. Like I said, we do not accept cash. We do accept online payments and encourage them. If you are doing an online payment, you have the option to select e-check or credit card. We do not accept credit cards in person at all. If you're online making a payment from an e-check, so from an e-check is a U.S. bank account, checking or savings account, then there is no cost to make that payment. If, however, you select a payment method of credit card online to make a payment, there is a 2.8% service charge with that payment. Debit cards are considered credit cards. So you're going to want to, if you're using a debit card, do not select credit card as the method. Instead, select e-check and put in the routing and account number for your bank account. It will save you the fees. And we do, like I said, we have a payment plan installment or installment payment plan that I will get to in just a moment. And we do accept payments from third parties, which include sponsoring organizations, sponsoring schools, donors, employers, or anyone else that is not the student or their family. So the UPay payment plan, that's the name of our payment plan. We call it the UPay payment plan. UMass offers this payment plan at it's no interest. It's a monthly installment plan for your tuition. So it's 5 installments per semester. For the fall, it will be from August through December, and for the spring, it'll be January through May. So it runs the course of the semester. The plan is designed so that each month is the exact same amount. So we take the amount you owe and it gets divided by 5, and that's your monthly payment. You can choose to pay with multiple methods, meaning that you can just choose to pay a portion of your bill on the payment plan because you know something else is coming in, maybe a check from grandma or something like that. So you do not have to pay the full amount of your bill only on the payment plan. You can select multiple methods. There's a $45 enrollment fee each semester that you enroll in the payment plan, and you can select the day of each month that you want the payment plan to take the payment from. Once you set the date for the semester, that's the date it stays. So for instance, if I'm going to select the 10th of the month for fall, then I'm going to pay on August 10th, September 10th, October 10th, and so on. If I select the 20th, I'll be paying on August 20th, September 20th, October 20th, and so on. If I decide to change that, I can change it for the spring semester. So if I pay on the 10th in the fall and decide that didn't quite work for me, I can select the 20th for the spring, but you cannot change the date once you've set it for the semester. Monthly installments that you have not yet made. So if it's August and you've signed up for the payment plan, you haven't paid anything yet. Let's say it's August 5th. We will take the full amount that you've agreed to pay over the next 5 installments and credit the bill so that you can see what your outstanding balance is, if anything. You'll either be able to see that the bill is paid in full with the payment plan or that there's still something to pay. So we credit you under the anticipated aid heading with money that we expect to receive from you over the course of the payment plan in the form of an installment. The next slide after this one is probably the most important slide of the whole presentation. So anyone who's watching, please pay attention to this next slide. We know that you have a vested interest in the financial aspects of your students' education. Otherwise, you wouldn't be joining us at 6 o'clock this evening. So we want to make sure we can get you the information that you need, that you need in order to keep on top of it, make the payment, whatever. I did see in the chat, my apologies. If you can see this, that is my comforter. My office is in my guest room, and I apologize that that keeps popping up. There is nobody behind me. It's just the way the camera's moving. Thank you, Kim, for pointing that out. So getting back to access, the bursar's office will communicate directly with your student. Your students are now adults, and as adults, they have federally protected rights to privacy, especially when it comes to anything financial. So that means, very similar to a parent who may have taken their child, their 18-year-old, to the doctor lately, the doctor can't talk to you without the child's permission. We cannot talk to you without the student's permission. So there are 3 levels of security, 3 levels of access that your student can set up for you to help you navigate the financial aspects of their tuition. But I just wanted to reiterate that we are not able to communicate with anyone other than the student unless the student explicitly says that we can. We've made this very easy for the students to do because we want that to encourage them to sign their parents, guardian, friends, aunts, uncles, whomever they want to have access. We want them to be able to do it rather quickly and easily. So these are the 3 levels of access that I want to cover today. FERPA is the first one. So FERPA, you will hear this. FERPA is the Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, and it protects your students' education records, including their financial records. So students can waive FERPA. What they do is they're waiving their right to privacy with regard to their educational and financial records, and allow whomever they designate to be able to contact the university, financial aid, or bursar's office and ask questions about the student bill or financial aid. What will happen is the student will actually go into their Spire account. Everything is in Spire. Go into their Spire account, select the FERPA waiver, and then they will put in your name and they will assign you a 4-digit code. I would strongly encourage you to do this with your student and you pick the 4-digit code so that it's not another code that you have to remember. The student can put in any code that they wish. And what will happen is if you contact our financial aid office or the bursar's office in order to speak with you over the phone, we will ask you for your 4-digit FERPA code, and then we can verify that and then speak to you about anything, any questions you may have regarding the financial aspects. The second level of access is called authorized payer. So FERPA allows us to talk to you over the phone or in person if you come into our office. Authorized payer allows us to actually send you, and this is just for the bursar's office, we will send communications to you that we have also sent your student regarding student billing. So this will include any kind of reminders that the bill is outstanding, any kind of updates about the bill, any reminders about due dates, any information about late fees or holds if the bill has not yet been paid. And so it will also include our monthly notification that the bill is available for you to view online. We do bill on a monthly basis for those who have an outstanding balance. So in addition to the student receiving this email, you will receive a copy of this email. Authorized payer access also allows you to log in with your own login ID and password to our online billing and payment system. And so that will allow you to look at past bills, to look at the current bill, to look at the up-to-date balance, and also make a payment. Through authorized payer, you can make a payment, an online payment with e-check, an online payment with credit card, or you can sign up for a payment plan. So this is very easy for the students to do. They just put in, again, your name. This time they're going to put in your email address, and they're going to set a password for you, or sorry, a login name for you. What you're going to want to do, is talk to your student about what they set your login name as so that you know how to log in. You will get an email with instructions on how to log in to your account access. And that's where you can select or change your password at that time. The login link for an authorized payer is also on the Bursar's office website at the top right-hand corner of the website. So if you ever forget what the link is, there it is. Delegated access is the final level of security and access. I know there was a question about whether or not parents can log into Spire. The answer is no, unless they are set up for delegated access. So student can go in and they can list designees who have delegated access, who have access to log into Spire. You will have your own logon ID and password. And now you have the ultimate access to get into the Spire account. Spire is where everything happens. You will get an email sent to the contact to let you know how to set up your logon or how to set up your password. I want to caution you, while you can see financial aid, you can see housing, you can see the student bill, you can see any holds or to-dos that your student can see, it is still limited. You are not able to see registration information or grades. There's no access for students to allow anyone else to see their grades. The only way you can see grades is if your student shares them with you. That's not something that the university would share regardless of any of these 3 levels of access. So it seems like a lot. This is a great page to screenshot. We also have this out on our websites, this presentation, but the setup for all of this, it seems very complicated. It takes a student less than 5 minutes to set up all 3 levels of access. So it's not complicated at all. It will allow you to have all the access that you possibly can have and access to the information you need to be able to manage this, help the student manage their tuition bill. And then my final slide has to do with dates. So there are some important dates that are coming up that I wanted you to be aware of. For the fall 2023 semester, again, I just want to reiterate that we do bill by semester. So for fall, we expect our fall bills to be available up to date and final by July 17th, which is Monday. So what happens when the bills are available is we send an email to the student and to any authorized payer. So if you have no plans this weekend, I would strongly encourage you to have your students sign you up as an authorized payer. So on Monday, when we send out the bills, you'll get the email as well. And you'll be able to log in and look at the bill yourself. The enrollment in the UPay payment plan is open. So if you want to enroll in the payment plan now, you can. And the health insurance waiver website will be open by Monday. So you will be able to waive the health insurance. My suggestion would be, once you receive the bill, that'll be your trigger to go in and take care of everything. Get the health insurance waived, sign up for the payment plan, change the meal plan, whatever your student wants to do to affect their bill. August 10th is the due date of the fall 2023 bill, and the first payment plan installment is due if the 10th is the date that you selected for your installment day. And September 5th is the first day of classes. It is also the last day to withdraw from the university with 100% refund of tuition and fees. Housing may have a bit of a different refund schedule depending if your student has moved in or not. But if your student is choosing not to attend UMass Amherst, September 5th at 5 o'clock is the last day for them to indicate that they're going to withdraw and then receive 100% refund of tuition and fees. For those who plan ahead, spring 2024 will be just around the corner. January 5th, our spring 2024 bills will be available. This is an estimated date, but what's important to note here is that we will not bill for spring before the end of the year. So the bills always come out after January 1st. So enjoy December, enjoy the holidays. Our bills will be available after the 1st of January, and our enrollment in UPay, the payment plan, will also be open. January 10th or the 20th, whichever you choose, is the first payment plan installment due date for the spring semester. Again, it's 5 installments, January through May. The first day of classes for the spring semester is February 1st, and that also will be the last day to withdraw for the spring semester with 100% refund of tuition and fees. And February 10th will be the due date for our spring 2024 bills. So by the due date of the bill, we expect students and families, if you are interested in a payment plan, to enroll. We will have your anticipated aid on the bill, and any scholarship or other award letters that we receive will also be on as anticipated aid. So when we say the bills are due, if you are in an installment payment plan, that's considered paid. So we do credit you for any payment that we are notified that we will be receiving. And I believe that is all I have for today. I'll stay here for a little bit. We all will, to see if there are any additional questions. There are a couple coming in, and I can answer a few of them. There's a question: once we have FERPA or other access options set up and have our code, does this remain the same for the duration at campus? The answer is yes. The only one that can change that code is the student. If the student doesn't want you to have access anymore, they can delete your access. They can change your code if you forget it and you want to reset it to something else, they can. Otherwise, it stays in place for their full time here at UMass Amherst. Let me see. Can we sign up for the installment plan and pay it off in full on the second or third installment? The answer is no. The payment plan installments are scheduled. Excuse me. The answer is yes, but it's not exactly like that. The payment plan installments are scheduled to be 1/5 of, or if you do it in 5 installments, would be 5 equal installments. If you sign up for the payment plan at the beginning and find, you know what, I just got my bonus check, I can just pay this off. What you would do is actually cancel the payment plan. You could terminate the payment plan with no penalty and then pay the remaining balance with an online payment. So you can do it, but it's not, you're not paying it through the installment, you'll actually make the payment on your own. If that's at all confusing, you're welcome to contact our office either now or at the time that you want to do that, and we'll guide you specifically on how to do it. Is there a link to view a recording of this Zoom? The answer is yes. Jonathan, you may be able to advise.
Yes. So we will post this on our website. So the same link that you would have used to register for this was on our website. And so if you'll click that same link tomorrow, it will take you to our YouTube and you can watch it there. We'll also post it on our Facebook, and it'll also be posted on our YouTube. So you'll have 3 different places that you can watch it. So just go to umass.edu/parents and you can find the recordings there.
Thank you.
Mhm.
We still have some time. So there was another question about the 1098-T form. This is one thing that I did not cover, but I'm happy to do so. The 1098-T form is a tax form that is sent to the student in January every year. And what is included on that form is any tuition and mandatory fees that were paid throughout the year by the student. So this also includes by the parents, by the grandparent. It's not specific to the student, but in other words, not through a grant or a scholarship. Student loan or a payment made by either the student or someone else are considered payments on the account. And provided that you are charged and paid tuition and mandatory fees, you will get a tax form that indicates that. This tax form, it's called a 1098-T form. It's used to determine whether or not you qualify for a tax credit, because if you paid educational expenses during the year, you may be eligible for a tax credit. The tax credit has a lot of other factors to it to determine whether you're eligible, including income and other variables. So we're not saying by sending you the form that you qualify. We're just providing the information that the IRS requires us to. So those forms get created and sent to students automatically. You do not have to apply for a form in January for the prior tax year. So you'll have it by January, or the student will have it by January 31st. Definitely ask the student if they've gotten an email. As an authorized payer, you will get an email once the 1098-T forms are ready. And then you can talk to your student about viewing it online because everything is available online. Let me see what else we have. I think the rest of them are currently being answered. Let me see. Do you recommend any private loan more than another? So I know, Jill, you're answering this question, but I'm just going to answer it for the whole group. We cannot recommend any private loans. It's actually an ethics violation if we do. What we do have on our financial aid website is we have a list of lenders that have sent us information. So every year, our financial aid office goes out with a blast email and request from all lenders that provide student loans and ask them to provide their information to us so we can provide it to you in the form of an informational sheet on our website. That is available on the financial aid website. It is not an exhaustive list, but it is a list of lenders who have responded to us with things such as their interest rate, their terms for the loan, the application process, etc. But we are not able to recommend one loan over the other. But there's a lot of great information, and I would encourage any of you who are looking for loans to compare rates, do a little bit of shopping. The link to the financial aid website is www.umass.edu/UMFA for UMass Financial Aid. So that is the financial aid website. They have a lot of great information there, including information about lending options, information about scholarships, information about the different types of loans you could get or your student could get, and as well as how they calculate the cost of attendance, how financial aid is calculated, that type of stuff. So I would highly encourage you to visit their website. So one question is, what happens if we miss a payment by mistake and it's past the due date? It's a great question. I don't want anyone on this call to get a lot of anxiety about the 10th of August. We're not asking your students to leave by any means. We're happy to have them here. August 10th is a date. It's by which you should have things in place, or at least start to get, you could have a loan application out there that you're waiting to get back. Typically loan applications take a few days, depending on what time of year it is. It could take up to a week or two. The August 10th due date is the trigger after which, if we see that your bill has not been paid, we're going to communicate with you and your student. You, if you're an authorized payer, we're going to start communicating with you to remind you that the due date is coming, remind you we have a payment plan option available, remind you of financial aid options that you may want to consider, so that you're not left blindsided after the first day of classes that you have an outrageous bill that's due. So if you miss a payment on your payment plan, the payment plan will terminate. So if you miss the August 10th deadline, I don't want you to stress too much about that. You will hear from us, but it won't be anything that's threatening. However, if you do miss a payment on the payment plan, it's all automated. It will terminate. So your payment plan will no longer be in place, and you will have to make the payment in full. You will be reminded 5 days before the installment plan that the installment plan is going to be taken. Let's say I picked the 10th of the month for the installment plan to be taken. On or about the 5th of the month, depending on whether that's a weekend or not, I as the payment plan owner will be notified that, hey, just a reminder, we're going to get a payment out of your account on the 10th. So that's your reminder to move the money into the account so that when we take the payment, it's successful. So it's kind of you can't really forget about it thing as long as you're watching your email, because we will remind you 5 days before. One more question. Do I have to pay two $45 charges for my twins if I use automated payment plan? The answer is yes. You will have a payment plan for each student, because again, this may be a good way to explain it. Our relationship is with each student. So for us, they are individual students, regardless if you're paying for both of them. And as such, they each need to have a payment plan. And so you will have two separate payment plans, one for one student, one for your second student. So yes, you will have to sign up for two separate plans, and you will be required to pay the $45 enrollment fee for each. The fall bill is due August 10th. The fall class starts September 5th. Can the student pay the total billing amount minus the total financial aid before August 10th? The answer is yes. We will accept payment at any time. You can certainly pay early. Feel free to do so. We will accept, you can start paying at any time now that the charges are on the account. Are all students eligible to get jobs, or only students on work study? The answer is yes, all students are eligible to get a job on campus. The longer, a bit more complicated answer is that some departments can only hire work study students. It's to make sure that any student who has the opportunity to have work study has the opportunity to get a job. But other departments will hire a student whether or not they have work study. So our employment on campus is not limited to work study, but within a department, it may be. I hope that answers your question. I also got a message from one of my colleagues that says, can you talk about dropping a class after ad drop? So there's a period that we lovingly refer to as the ad drop period. It's about the first week of classes. It is published on our academic calendar, and your students will also be notified about the ad drop period. It's during this first week of classes that students can make changes to their registration. So if they find they don't want to be in biology 101 and they'd rather take chemistry 102, they can drop biology and add chemistry, and there's no penalty, there's no change, everything is the same. If they just want to drop biology and don't want to take chemistry, as long as they're 12 credits or more at the end of the drop, then their fees do not change. We cap our fees at 12 credits, regardless of how many over 12 you take. So if students drop a class, as long as they don't drop below 12, then nothing will change with their fees. After the add drop period, so after that first week of classes, if your student drops a class, then there is no change to their bill, regardless if they take 12 credits or not. So in other words, if your student is at 12 credits and after the add drop period, they drop to 9, your bill will not change. So you're paying for the course, even though they dropped it. So it's important for your students to get their schedule pretty much set prior to the start of classes, or at least during that first week of classes. We have about 8 minutes. I'm happy to answer any other questions. I'll give it just a minute here, and if we don't get any other additional questions, then we'll probably wrap it up. Okay, could repeat if the student is only charged for a max of 12 credits per semester. So the answer is yes. Your students are charged for a maximum of 12 credits per semester. We charge a flat rate for tuition. So that means that the tuition rate stays the same if you're taking 12 or if you're taking 18. You could be taking 24. You're still charged for the maximum amount of tuition, which is equivalent to the 12 credits. If you drop below 12 credits or your student drops below 12 credits, that's where the fees may shift. If you are 12 or more credits, 12 to 112, there's no difference in charges. If it's less than 12, that's where your fees may reduce. So I hope that answers the question. We do max out at 12 credits. That is considered full time, and it doesn't matter how many credits you take after that. Is a 529 direct payment better than a personal payment? If so, why? I can't answer that question. What I can tell you is the reason I suggested that you have the 529 payment go directly to the school is because you will have to show proof that it went toward education expenses during tax season. I am not a tax professional, so I'm in no way giving anyone on this call advice. However, I was a parent who used a 529 to pay my son's tuition, and I found that it was much more streamlined to send the payment directly to the school from the 529 rather than have it come into my bank account and then for me to then pay the school. I had to provide more documentation that way than if the payment went directly to the school. So I hope that answers your question. Again, I'm not a tax accountant and I'm not trying to give tax advice. You may want to speak to either your tax preparer or the 529 company to determine. Let me see, what else do we have? Where can a student waive childcare and mass purg? It's through their Spire access. So once a student logs into Spire, there are different panels on their experience. I wonder if I can. Bear with me for just a moment because I might be able to open it up so you can see it. Just listen to me type away here. Okay, I'm gonna, is everybody still seeing the presentation? Jill, Tom, Kim, Mike, yes, Jonathan, thank you so much. I'm gonna stop sharing for just a moment and I'm gonna reshare my screen so that I can show you what Spire looks like. Because we do have a minute or two. So this is what a student Spire will look like when they first log into Spire. Jonathan, can you see the Spire screen for me? Thank you so much. So this is my Spire screen. So you'll see my name up here and my student ID number. This is what your student will see, and it will be specific to them. They will clearly see much more than you can probably see here because I am not an active student. But this is where appears where they will see their to-dos and holds. I just want to let everyone know that hold was a test. I don't really have a hold on my account. I did pay my bill. But anyway, so this is where your student will see their holds and to-do items. This is where they'll see their classes, any milestones, financial aid information is here. Academic information, including how many credits they've earned, is here. Their profile, so any information that they want to change is here. I believe all of your students are undergrads, so you can kind of ignore that. Housing information is here, and here's the finances section. So this is where students will waive their Mass Perk and childcare. They can change their meal plan. So they'll see all of these options on the left-hand menu. Mass Perk and childcare waiver is listed right here. It's pretty clear. They can change their meal plan here. They can ask for additional meals here. Once you get the 1098Ts in January, they can view it here. This is where students can sign up for refunds through Access Express. This is where they can waive their health insurance. And this is where they can see any refund status if they have received a refund in the past. So this is the finance section. I think I can go back. Yeah, this is the finances section. So everything we talked about today is pretty much under this tile right here, the finances tile. So I did go over that quickly, but I hope that what you'll take from there is when your student logs into Spire, have them look at the finances section to make any adjustments to their bill. Oh, let me see what else. The FERPA privacy waiver, the other question was about FERPA. So FERPA waiver is not under the finances, it's actually under the profile. So now you guys all see my phone number and my email. But anyway, under here, access and privacy, you will see the FERPA privacy waiver. You will see Spire access request. So you'll see share my information, that's delegated access. So this is the FERPA privacy waiver. This is where your students will set you up so that they'll put your first name and give you an access code that's 4 digits. And they'll indicate whether or not we can talk to you about financial aid and bursar information and whether or not we can talk to you about housing. So your student may not want you to know where they live. I can't imagine that, but they can always select no here. And then we are not allowed to talk to you about their housing. If they select no to financial and yes to housing, housing is the only thing that we can talk to you about. So that is kind of a walkthrough of what it looks like. Let's see. No, I don't want to change my, but this will give you a little taste of what the Spire account looks like. And I think we have time for one more question. How are the bills going to be mailed on Monday? I know Barb is answering that question. I will also answer that. We do electronic billing. We do not do paper bills. So we will never send a paper bill. You will always get an email notification, which is why it's important for you to get signed up as an authorized payer so that you get the emails when your student gets the email, and you'll know that the bill is available to view online. So again, we are always open for business at the Bursar's office between business hours. And I'm going to stop sharing actually. So if there's anything else, any other questions you have after this presentation, you are welcome to just stop into our office, call our office, email our office. We are available to set up a Zoom meeting with you if you'd like. And we're happy to help with this kind of complicated way to get your student through UMass Amherst, but we're happy to have you here and we're happy to help any way we can.
You see that one question about the authorized access or delegated access showing it?
Mm-hmm. So I don't know, do we have time, Jonathan, to show one more thing?
Yeah, if you would like.
Okay. Sure. So I do not think I have this set up under my student access, but again, under the profile, we will go to access and privacy. Excuse me while I find my mouse, and then share my information. And this is this is how it would go. So your student would select to delegate access to a new contact, and then you would go through, they would just walk through the panel. It's that simple. Like I said, setting up all 3 levels of this access takes less than 5 minutes for a student. They're very savvy when it comes to computers. They could probably do this on their phone, like, in a split second. But this is where they would delegate access to a new person. They would accept that they're going to share their information. And here's where they put in the information about the person who will have access. So you're gonna want them to put in your email address so that you can get the instructions on how to actually access this information. Was there anything else that I didn't cover from my staff or from Jonathan that you can think of?
No,
Okay.
I think you covered it all.
All right, wonderful. Well, I appreciate everyone's time this evening. I know Jonathan has a few closing words. Welcome to UMass Amherst. We're happy to have you here. And if we can do anything to help you, just please let us know.
Yeah, and thank you, Aaron, for spending some time with us this evening. We appreciate how thorough you were and all of the information you shared, and I know that our family has really appreciated it. You can find the recording to this available tomorrow on our website on umass.edu/parents. It will also be on our Facebook group and our YouTube, and so you'll have a way to access this recording as soon as we get it loaded. So if you have any questions between now and then, you can email the Bursar's office directly, or you can email us at umassparents at umass.edu, and we will get you to the right folks. Thank you all and hope you have a great night.